4, 3, 2, 1.
Whether you've been married 1 or 20 plus years, at some point you realize you married into crazy. And that's what our show is all about. If your marriage or relationship is compassionate, real, accountable, zealous and yielding, or just plain crazy, Snooks and Lovey offer love, laughter, and a dose of reality as they unpack this thing called marriage. Sit back, relax, and get your ear hustle on. It's time to start the conversation.
Welcome back to another episode of the Married into Crazy podcast with Snooks and Lovey.
I'm Snooks.
And I'm Lovey. And as always, we start off by just thanking you for coming back for another episode. This is a podcast where we talk about all things marriage, right? We've been married 27 plus years. Can you believe in 6 months it'll be 28 years?
That is kind of crazy because I feel like we just said we've been married for 27 years, like last month.
6 months ago?
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it. Time is like really moving.
And it does. Sometimes, marriage moves at the speed of your communication. It moves at the speed of a lot of things that are going on around you. But we need to make sure that we're not succumbing, if you will, to the issues, the undulations, the speed bumps, because you're going to have those.
Right. But before we get into all that, we want to make sure that you subscribe and review our YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts, or you go onto our website at marriedintocrazy.com and check out all the ways that we can bless your marriage. We have couple to couple coaching. We have our store. We have RTB, which is Raise the B.A.R. And I'm going to
be very honest. With the couple to couple coaching, we're actually paring back a little bit. Not stopping completely, but slowing it down because somebody is entering the most intense phase of her training when it comes to her master's in social work. So Snooks isn't going to be as available, but that doesn't stop us from really reaching out and helping to build up your covenant. So she mentioned Raise the B.A.R. RaiseTheBarMarriage.com, and you can also just go to marriedintocrazy.com and click on the link. We'll actually provide you with some really good training topics, things to talk about. It could be premarital as well as married. That's going to give you a strong foundation to take your marriage or your relationship from where you are right now to where you truly want it to be. So there's a lot of great training there, and we encourage you to go take a look. And don't trust us. Don't listen to us. Don't take our word for it. Listen to the testimonials of couples that have actually done it.
Isn't that counterproductive? Don't trust us. Don't listen to us, but it's our stuff. But I mean, kind of to the point what Lovey was saying, I am going to be entering my practicum, but that does not mean that we will not be doing any coaching. Don't want to scare anyone off. It will just be, we'll just have to be a little bit more, I don't want to say choosy.
No, just selective with our time frames. It's just that we'll continue coaching. It's just that the windows have narrowed because I really don't want to create distractions for Snooks. This has been a lifetime goal of hers, and she's so close to achieving it. And I don't want to be that person that gets in her way. Okay,
so reading between the lines, basically what he is saying is he does not want to hear my mouth. He doesn't want me going crazy. He doesn't want me going off on anybody in the house. So that's what he's trying to say.
As the man of the house, as the husband, the provider, the protector, it is my job to keep everyone alive.
I was about to say to save everyone else.
I got to keep the babies alive.
That's funny.
Right? Isaiah doesn't deserve the wrath of Snooks. And I've got two young adult women in the house as well.
They do. And they deserve all the wrath that I give them.
Yeah, I don't need anybody catch. You know what?
No,
they'll start something and I'll catch all the smoke. So no, we're going to keep Snooks happy. What? And make sure that we can keep things moving. But here's the thing.
I'm sorry. We're not going to just blow past that. What do you mean they'll start something and you'll catch all the smoke? What does that even mean? Like I take it out on you?
Oh, let me tell you about what your girls did.
That's not me telling. That is not me taking it out on you. That's me sharing what happened. So then when I don't tell him, he's like, well, I don't even know what's going on. What are you talking about? Blah, blah, blah. I wasn't privy to that conversation. Da, 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 da.
If I had an editing team right now, they would see like a nuclear bomb. just going off like, I didn't drop the bomb on you. It was close to you.
Whatever. No, that
And you
is
see- and you
not what happened.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever. Anyway.
Yeah, anyway.
Anyway.
So no, what we want to focus on now. Look, we've been at this. 2024 has been around for 6 months, right? So we're in July.
7. Yeah. Okay.
Everyone just celebrated, or just had the holiday that just passed, 4th of July. And this is that time of year where you should be doing a reevaluation, taking a look at whether or not you've hit your goals, how you're tracking, where you're at. If there's some recalibration needs to take place. But also one of the things I thought would be really cool to take a look at are the marriage topics that have been trending for 2024.
Okay.
So we found several different topics that have been trending and seem to be continuing to go strong. And we're not going to cover them all in one episode. We're just going to break them down episode by episode, taking a look at some of the things. And the first thing we're going to talk about, what?
No, nothing. Just remind me of something. You said episode by episode. Remind me of Kaylin. Can't see me. Can't see me.
You guys can get a lot of that. We've decided, and
We've decided.
when a thought of our son comes up, we just interject it. We don't run from it. We don't set it aside. We live in that moment. It's in those moments that he continues to be with us, and we're bringing you along for the ride. So as much as some of this may be helping some of you, you're getting caught up in some of our therapy as well.
Yeah.
That's just the way it goes.
Mm-hmm.
But let's get back to one of the trending topics of 2024 when it comes to marriage. And that's gender roles. Do they exist? Genders are changing. People are saying, I don't want a title. I'm non-binary. I'm binary. All these different things are going on. But how is that affecting marriage? Are there gender roles? Do you think they still exist within relationships, particularly in marriages?
Well, okay. So for myself, I don't necessarily feel like that's a new topic for 2024.
No, it's not new.
Because it's been, it's kind of been going on for a little bit, where the roles in the homes have been changing. More women, I won't say more, but women are out in the workforce, and there are more men now that are staying home for whatever reason. There are a variety of reasons. Some may have retired. Some may have been hurt. I mean, there's just a number of reasons. Some may stay home because the wife makes more money, and having both of them out at work, that means one, you're paying for daycare,
so first off, no, this is not a new topic. It's been around for a long time, but I think that it's more and more in the news, and it's considered a trending topic because of some of the ripples that are happening throughout society. You take a look at, to this day, women are still getting paid 75 cents on the dollar compared to men. Mm-hmm. Across the board, not in every aspect, but across the board, women are still underpaid as compared to their male counterparts.
And
but then
overworked.
more and more women there's an economic impact. More and more women are entering the workforce. Mm-hmm. They're doing more. You have a lot of working parents, whereas you don't have the traditional homemakers anymore. So that's something. But then you're also hearing about it in the WNBA. They're raising money, saying that, okay, well, why does the men's team get to fly on a chartered aircraft and the women are taking commercial flights? Mm-hmm. and I'm just, that's just one example, but there's so many more. But I think that as that discussion point keeps coming up and talking about Title IX, it came up last summer Olympics. Here we are at the Olympics, where they were talking about the U.S. women's soccer team, how they were compensated much less. Or maybe it was a World Cup. Maybe it was during a World Cup. That was like a couple of years ago. They were compensated much lower than, and their facilities, everything much lower than men. And that's a gender equality type thing, making sure that you have, the same type of resources. But it's those things that are, I believe, adding life to the conversations about gender roles within the household.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I feel like too, that could make or break a decision for someone. There's not really now the WNBA is around, but before then, women had to go overseas and play.
Right. I don't want to just make it about sports.
No, I know, but I'm just thinking like the things that women have had to do to be able to, or sacrifice to be able to do the things that they want to do. You know, like if I wanted to play, but I didn't have it wasn't around for me to, so I had to go through, make all these adjustments. And then when it is around, I get paid way less than what the men get paid, you know. I feel like that's a society thing too, because people are not wanting to see women play as much as they are wanting to see men play. Maybe now they're getting more into it, you know, with the sports stuff or whatever, they're getting more into it, but that's more of the old boys club type of mentality. I mean, for me, that's just my opinion.
I'm not trying to go down the rabbit hole of just talking about compensation and all that, but I think it feeds into the mindset of these are discussion points. Like, why can't I? What do you mean I have to do this? What do you mean like it's the man's role or it's the woman's role? But
don't you think that has an effect on?
No, I think it feeds into it. I think it creates a tone that in turn creates a conversation.
It creates a tone that you don't belong here.
Well, that's the workplace. I'm talking about.
Or anywhere. I mean,
you can't say, okay, we're married, but you don't belong here.
No, I'm saying that like you don't belong here, like you're not as valued. The only where else are we as valued except for in the home? That's because we do all the chores in the home.
All the chores?
All the chores except for the garbage and killing bugs. But I mean, you know, the expectation is that, oh, you're at home or even, and you know, this is just how I look at it, or what my view is. We both go to work. If we were both working outside of the home and we both come home around the same time, maybe I get home 10 minutes before you, maybe you get home 15 minutes before me. What is the expectation? The expectation is, what's for dinner, Mom? Babe, what's for dinner? What you cooking? It's never, Dad, what's for dinner? It's never, you know, babe, what you cooking, from the woman to the man. And it is like that for some households, but that has not been the norm.
Well, okay, so let me interject.
No.
Is that a gender thing or is that a tradition thing? Because the tradition has been, but the tradition has been set. So you have an argument, right? So you have like point counterpoint when it comes to gender roles and equality in marriage. You've got one half that's talking equality, where you have advocates that are specifically talking about gender equality and shared responsibilities, right? Breaking down those I don't call them social norms, but they're breaking down the outdated stereotypes, right? And promoting equality for, you know, chores, this, that, and the other. But you've got the traditional side of it as well, that is taking a look at that are natural and beneficial for family stability, dynamics, things like that. And I don't know that it's necessarily, if our kids, if I was a chef and, let's talk about Kalen. He's not here, but Kalen was the cook. So when he was in the household, he did all the cooking. So had everything progressed, and let's say he had gotten married or whatever, it would have been like coming, you know, if both people were cooking or both people were working, they come home from work, the kids would be like, Dad, what's for dinner? Because the tradition had been set. Now, that's non-gender.
That's because he liked to do it. He loved to cook. That was his job, cooking. So, and
that's why I bless you, because I know you love to cook and clean and pick up after me. Those are the things that you enjoy. I know your love language.
You know what? I'm going to be real with y'all. On certain days, that is my love language. There are days where I'm like, I'm cleaning today. Don't bother me. And it makes me feel good. And I'm just like in my own zone, you know. But so, you know, I'll give him that. Don't bash him too hard, because he sounds like a caveman right now about him blessing me with cooking and cleaning. But you know, no. But you know, I feel like that is a new thing, where I know plenty of women who do not cook. You know, we spoke before about my sister-in-law, she's not a cooker.
She's learning. She's
Well,
probably
yeah,
listening
she
right
is,
now going,
and she
hold
is.
on, hold on. She goes, you called me out last
Hold
time.
on, player.
She started cooking at that point too.
No, but I'm saying, but that was not her norm. She wasn't like, I'm coming home from work and I'm about to get in the kitchen and I'm we know plenty.
She didn't have to, because in her first marriage,
Right. Kind of like
he
how
was
he was like how Kaylin was.
right. He loved to cook, so that's what he did. So there was no need. It wasn't, and so the kids came home, and they were always, our niece and nephew were, Dad, what's for dinner?
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just put on the woman. So I think that there's, I don't know. I don't get me wrong. I'm not naive. I know that there's some gender that plays into it for the great majority, and what I'm probably talking about are a couple of one-offs. They're anomalies to the larger swath of couples that are out there.
What do you mean? What do you
Well,
mean?
like we're talking about, my sister's first husband, or we're talking about Kaylin.
Got you.
They're not the norm. I'm not. For me to cook, it's a special treat, because when I cook something, the kids are like, "Dad cooked this?"
Mm-hmm. That's true.
And then they're like, "Ooh, shocker!" First off, am I going to get rushed to the ER?
I don't think that would.
Secondly, it actually has some seasoning. It's good. Not that Snooks doesn't put seasoning in her food, but I think
no,
that
they're talking about actually has some seasoning because of you.
no,
I know
my
you
eggs.
shame
My
anyway.
eggs are always weak.
Oh
but,
yeah, no. We want to talk about the eggs.
but listen, there's an economic impact as well as a social impact when we're talking about, and I think this is also what feeds into, I don't call it an argument, the discussion that's taking place right now, why it's one of the trending topics when it comes to marriage, is that not only is it an increased workforce, we've already talked about that, but it is providing some economic relief in the respect that as more, I won't say as more women, as both parents are both in the workforce, it's creating more and more of a need for daycare.
I was about to say, so how is it economic relief if I'm going to work just to pay for daycare? And when that was actually our that was our reality for a little while, and you don't necessarily think of it like that until you break down the numbers. When I had gotten laid off in 2010, they closed our office down. I had told Lovey, I was like, look, I don't want to go back to work right now. He said,
I said, I don't want to go back to work either.
He did not say that. He said, okay, let's look at the numbers and see if we can swing it. So we looked at the numbers and taking out how much I was paying for gas. That was ridiculous. And then also the after school care and the transportation for them. We came out kind of ahead because I was getting unemployment also. But I was like, wow, when you break it down, it's like I was literally working just to make sure that we had some extra money, but the majority of it was going to after school program and also transportation for the kids. And that is the reality for a lot of people. I need that extra $500, but I have to spend $1,700 for the child care or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
No,
how you break it down?
That's there. But I mean, but it does, but by both working, it does create a need for daycare.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but it does also create a need for domestic services, because look.
What is domestic services?
See, I knew she was going to ask. Now, see, that she's going to get the secret, y'all. She's going to
tell me.
Maids.
I'm doing it wrong.
Maids. She's like, wait, hold up. Wait, those are real? That's not in the movie?
No.
She's going to be like, I want me one of those.
I've been wanting one.
No, but that's another thing too. Like if it gets to the point where it's so overwhelming, it's providing the opportunity to create
welfare for other people.
Exactly. I hate to call it welfare, but yeah.
Well, income. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it would mean welfare.
Yeah, it creates income for other individuals.
For other people. That's
right. If
that's
you have
how
the means,
I feel. I agree. That's how I feel about whenever we need something fixed around the house. I love that my husband is good with his phone, calling the people. Calling the people.
Not my tools. I thought she was going to say, I love that he's good with his tools.
He's bae. You are good with your phone. Yeah, we need somebody to come out, blah, 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 whatever. Lovey is good with that.
Because I appreciate people that have skill sets.
We believe in helping the economy.
I believe in helping people fulfill the calling that God has given them, whatever it may be.
So, but in looking at this, though, when we talk about tradition and gender roles changing, I feel like we fit into that. Because right now, we have Isaiah, and it's not that Lovey does everything or whatever. We kind of but split the duties between the four of us. But when I say that we kind of fit into that with the gender roles and expectations, Lovey takes him to the doctor. He is involved with the schooling and stuff like that. A lot of times that happens where the doctors or whoever, they know him more than they would know me. They're like, who are you? But that happens too because of he may have more flexibility on any particular day than I have. So we're seeing, and when I take him a lot of times I'll say to the doctor, or I do see more men in there with their children than I have past practice. Usually it's the mom or the grandma or something like that. Now I'm seeing the fathers and some grandpas or whatever. So there are different ways for the genders and the expectations to change. It's not necessarily you stay home from work and I go to work. It could be, okay, you got his medical taken care of. You're up on task with that. You're not just I'm not just the one meeting with the teacher because you have to be at work. A lot of times I'm on conference with them because he has the ability to go. So that's not the traditional type of thing, like
True.
Past practice, how it has been before.
And it's funny, as I'm listening to you, I'm thinking to myself, yeah, you're right. I mean, there's a shift, so I'm able to actually carve out a few more pockets here and there, when time permits. I mean, there's times where I'm out of town or I'm engaged with some of my accounts and I just can't be. But when the opportunity arises, I want to be involved. And so.
And I want you to be.
But it's so funny. As I was listening to you, I was thinking there has been a bit of a shift, but at no point have I felt as if I've lost any of my masculinity. And I think that a lot of times when you talk about gender roles changing, there's some type of, like people equate that to, oh, well, he's taking on, more of a feminine role. Mm-hmm. Or she's taking on more of a masculine role. It has nothing to do with masculinity or femininity. It has everything to do with responsibility.
Yeah, and taking care of your home. To me, there's nothing more masculine than a man who steps in and takes care of whatever needs to be taken care of in the home, outside of the home, for his family. If
I'm curious, is that like sexy? Does that turn you on?
Depends on the day.
Because
you finna go get him a shower.
I changed some shower heads in the shower yesterday.
I was appreciating it. I was digging it.
I changed some shower heads. What else? I did something else too.
Today.
I was fixing stuff.
He was. Lovey was on it.
I was fixing things around the house. And
so proud.
Today I put together, when we got done with work, Isaiah wanted to play. So he had this thing and I put together this train set for him.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to Uncle
Babe,
Todd.
I had tools. I was using tools.
You were the little.
Yeah, I was using the little thing. What's it called? Screwdriver? No,
wow.
I'm just playing. Look, I used to be a mechanic, so I used to work on multi-million-dollar aircraft. I know my way around some things. I just choose not to.
You just choose not. Hey, and that's the good part of it too. That I didn't even think about that. Options. You have options, and women have options now. It's not just a delegated area. You have to do this. We have options to say, I'm not going to. I mean, hopefully, in your home, you have that option. Some people, there are some households where that's not an option.
Well, and I love the way that you're saying that, that we have options. And that's what I feel like this is what the gender roles shifting in homes is all about, is that you're creating options. We're not having to go by
so stuck in the
just because that's the way my parents did it, my aunts and uncles did it, and that everybody else did it. This is the way it has to be in my house. No, it's like you have options. Like, oh, you know what? I'm better. It's like when we talk about the why in yielding. Mm-hmm. We're yielding to the needs of the home, and it's like, oh, okay. Well, I just listened to a podcast the other day where, shout out to CJ on Secrets to Success, podcast where he was talking about how he and his wife, due to the needs of their home and their situation, their roles shifted. He was the stay-at-home dad, and while his wife was out there working for her company, and people were like, oh, so you just follow your wife around? He was like, yeah. I handle stuff. They don't see what. Anyway, it's just one of those things where, again, I like that options.
Well, and then too that when you were talking, the problem I think that many people have is they don't see what's done in the home as being valuable. You know what I'm saying? Because just like when you say, oh, you just follow her around. What you mean? Oh, I got a kid. We have kids at home. I get them up. I feed them. I do this. I do that, blah, 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 whatever. And so a lot of times there are so many blind spots that those who take advantage of that, I'll just put it that way, they take advantage of that because the person who's doing the work has taken care of everything. You have no idea how hard it is. You have no idea what's going on, how hard you work, blah, 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 whatever. So, maybe let's trade places. You know how you say, you walk a mile in my shoe. You don't even got to walk a mile. Stand in them, take a couple steps. You know what I'm saying?
Try and make it down the hallway.
Exactly. So maybe if we start seeing more of the value that those that are at home bring, because no one should ever be like, oh, you just stay home. Unless you're literally at home doing absolutely nothing, then you just stay home. But if you're not just doing nothing, if you're home with the children, you're taking care of the household, and you're very busy, you're probably more tired than be like, dang, I need a nap.
And listen, put yourself in that place. Think back to a time where your spouse was ill and you have children, and you had to do everything. And you're tired, and you're like, man, I can't wait till this person gets better because I can't do all
this.
It's
falling on me.
I can't handle this. Or if a person's going through depression and everything falls on you, and you're like, oh, I need this person to get well again because I can't do it all. And then we forget about it when everything levels out and everything's good again, because you always need a vacation from the whatever. We just had our grandkids here, or all three of the grandkids, for 3 weeks.
Good Lord.
Love them to life.
But was so happy to see them go home.
There is so much. We're like, how do people handle this many kids? We had 3 kids in the house at one time. I don't know how we did it.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Seriously, huh?
And so value. I like that. You're talking about options, and you're talking about appreciating the value of the individual next to you. I think that in itself, I'm not even going to give a raise the bar moment, because I think that's it. The Raise the Bar. So we do a segment of the show where it's called Raise the Bar, where we want to help you raise the bar in your relationship, raise the bar in your marriage to the next level in some aspects, something that's actionable that you can do before the podcast even finishes. And I truly believe that that's what it is.
Start seeing the value.
See the value. Think about the value that your spouse, that your partner, your ace, that person that you said I do to, think about the value that they truly bring. And the easiest way to do that is think about, what if they weren't there? Your life has not changed at all. It's exactly the life that you have right now, but your spouse is no longer there. I'm not saying get morbid and, imagine something crazy, but just that they're not there.
Yeah.
Like, poof, gone.
Yeah.
How much more would you have to do? What would your mental health look like? What would your physical health look like? How would you be eating? Would the house be clean? Would the bills get paid?
Right.
Would the kids be well adjusted? Start thinking about the value. And you can do that before we say goodnight on this thing. So that's where you get to raise the bar in your relationship, by appreciating the value.
And let's just be clear, we as a society, I feel like we only place value on monetary. So remove the monetary. And like Lovey said, what if that person wasn't there? What would you do? How would you handle it? So Good word.
All right. Hey, I think we're going to leave there. So we've got some more topics, hot, trending, controversial topics that are affecting marriage in 2024. And we're going to have this series. It's going to be going on for maybe a few more weeks. So we're going to hit upon those. Make sure you come back. Tell a friend. Go ahead and subscribe. Ensure that you're here for the next conversation. Let somebody else know that could benefit from this topic. If you've ever been in your group of friends and you've talked about gender roles shifting, whatever, send them to this episode. And then have a conversation afterwards. We'd love to hear your feedback. Be sure to hit us up on email. You can go to info@marriedintocrazy.com, or you can just go on our social media as we post things and comment there.
Right.
But until the next time,
be blessed.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Married Into Crazy podcast with Snooks and Lovey. Please like, subscribe to, and review the show wherever you access it, and tell a friend about us. Visit marriedintocrazy.com and see how Snooks and Lovey can bless your marriage directly.